There we go. I got to actually turn the microphone on. So what I was saying was Astute Tourist Channel. It's something we'd like to call. It's a new news, travel news and destination tips and tricks. It's something that I like to call our vacation nation. And I've been learning how to use OBS, the online broadcast studio. And you can hear me now, I hope. Let me know, Nancy, in the chat. Like I said, there's going to be some chinks in the armor, and it'll take me a little bit to get used to this, but I think we're doing good now. I can see on the monitor that I do have some sound coming out. I'm glad you came in, Nancy. I hope everything's going well. I hope your weekend's been good for you. And like I said, this is something we're going to try to do, I don't know, a couple times a week, hopefully, and I've wanted to work on a live stream, but not just sitting there and just talking. I mean, we're definitely going to talk and chat about things. And if you have something to do, hey, Keystone, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. This is, like I said, and you guys saw my test this morning. It's something I would like to call Vacation Nation. Certainly not an original name, but it's something that we wanted to try to do so that we could bring you guys some of the latest news and hopefully bring you some tips and tricks for this year on traveling and destination. We'll probably be talking about the coronavirus a little bit and what's going on in the world with that. I also wanted to bring up some Disney stuff. There was a couple things happening there this week, and we're going to be talking about that. So, like I said, Keystone was in earlier, and he was helping me out. He was kind of my eyes and ears while I was working on this OBS, this online broadcast studio program. And I think everything's working fine. Colleen, can you hear me now? Let me know in the chat. And hopefully you'll be able to hear what we're saying here. And so, like I said a minute ago, this is something we're trying out, something a little bit new. I wanted to bring something that's a little bit more entertaining than just sitting here and talking and putting my hand on my chin and asking you guys just how your day's doing. But how is everybody's day doing out there? You can let me know in the chat. Also, don't forget to hit that like button if you want. And if you're new to the channel, which we got 4 in, and I know everybody's been here, and you guys are pretty much all subscribers, but if you'd like, go ahead and throw a thumbs up for us, and we'll try to get this show on the road. So, Colleen, you can hear us now. Excellent. That's great. So if there's anything, let me know. I do take critiques for good and bad. Let me know if there's something good, and if there's something not so good, let me know as well, because we want to improve. Hopefully you guys will come back and many times with more streams that we do in the future. One thing I did want to talk about, we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary on YouTube. March 7th, which was yesterday, was our first day. I told a quick story of how I was out of work with an injury, and to pass the time before I was going in for the surgery on March 7th, I got up really early, as a nervous Nelly that I am, and I had some editing software, and I figured I'd take some vacation videos that we had, and I would go ahead and edit those just to keep myself busy before I went to the hospital. And I ended up launching this channel. It was a year ago yesterday. So we've done our 1 year. It's certainly been fun. I've learned a lot. I still have a lot to learn, but and I've met some really nice people here on YouTube and elsewhere, especially you folks that are in the chat right now. You've helped me out, and I can always use your help as we go. And like I said, if there's something that you want to see, or something that doesn't look so good, maybe we shouldn't try again, let us know. And you can comment after as well. Once the stream's over, please go ahead and comment and let us know. But this is something that we wanted to try, and hopefully there'll be more to come. So I've been messing with this program, and I have a little intro here, so we'll let this go and see what you guys think. So just a little something to get the channel started off, kind of make it like a little news show. Yeah, a little introduction there, and something that hopefully works out. I've been working hard the last couple days on it. I certainly have a lot to do, and I want to do more. I want to make it a little more entertaining, and I'll add things as we go. But so that's pretty much it. You know, hopefully you guys like that and like what you saw. And why don't we get right into it? We're going to talk about some vacation and some destination stuff for this year. The month of March seems to be a good time. It's just getting into the springtime. And one of the places that I want to visit is I've been to North Carolina, but Charleston is supposed to be a really good time of year. We still have some snow on the ground. The trees aren't budding up here yet. But Charleston's one of the best places to visit any time of the year, but this time of year they're having their wine and food festival. I think it's going on all this week into next week, and it's a big extravaganza they have down there. Like I said, the spring flowers are in bloom, so that may be a place you want to visit. There's also one of the places that we went to. I don't know if you've seen our Mexico series. I got a couple of them out there. We produced a ancient city of Tulum video, and we also the last video that we just did was we went swimming in a cenote, which is a big sinkhole in the ground full of beautiful, clean, fresh water, and it's a real beautiful place with jungle plants and vines and flowers and stuff. So we went down there as well. But we took the cruise to the Yucatan. Was out of New Orleans, and New Orleans is a great place to visit. I had never been there before, and April is supposed to be a good month down there. It was fairly warm when we were there. It was a little bit rainy, but we checked out some of the sites. We went to Jackson Square, which is a pretty cool place to hang out. There's a lot of artists and things. They hang out there during the day and they sell their arts and their crafts and things. We saw some street performers, which were fantastic. There was some really good street performers down there. It's right there along the Mississippi River, and it's kind of a cool place to go. It was fun. Like I said, I had never been, and it was warm. It was cool at night. It was probably in the 40s in the evening, but during the day it was up in the low to mid 60s. We were only there for a couple days. We did get to experience some of the Mardi Gras atmosphere. It was just beginning when we were there, and they just started to decorate for Mardi Gras, which was pretty cool. And we hit some of the bars, and we got to try some beignets, which is a famous French kind of donut-like fried pastry, which is really good. If you like fried pastry, it's excellent. One of my favorite things to get when we're there is the coffee. There's a place called Cafe Du Monde, which is somewhat of a famous coffee place there, where it's open 24 hours, and they put chicory in the coffee, and I really like that. So that was a treat for me. We got to bring some of the coffee home. It was delicious. Yeah. Yeah, Nancy, yeah, definitely. I wish I could hit the lottery. Hopefully, if I can get some watch hours and we start to monetize our channel, we're definitely going to use that to go and do some traveling and bring some more cool destination places and videos for everyone to see. And, we just want to share where we go and some of the sights and sounds in the food that we try. And if you've never been there and it's something that you get a chance to some of the places we've been to, that's what we do. So you can come check out the videos and see if that's something you like. But right now, um, it's just in New Orleans. They're just finishing up the Mardi Gras there, and there's some cool places. Apparently, April is an ideal month to visit New Orleans. The weather is getting a lot warmer down there, and it's kind of French Cajun, and they have let's see what's going on down there. There's a fascinating region in the Lafayette town of Lafayette, Louisiana. They host an international festival, the International Day of Louisiana. It's a celebration of unique foods, music, and culture, and that sounds pretty interesting. The food there was really delicious. Like I said, we had some of the pastry and coffee, but they're famous for their seafood as well. There's crawfish, of course, and all kinds of fish. There's uh, shrimp, a lot of shrimp, and we dined on some etouffee and some gumbo, and the food there is really good. So if you get a chance to check out New Orleans and towns around New Orleans, it's a pretty cool place. Really, really cool. Like I said, we went to Mexico back in January. We took a Carnival cruise, and we ended up um, going to, like I said, we went to Tulum, which is an ancient city the Mayans built a few thousand years ago, and we did go to Chichen Itza as well, and we went swimming in that cenote. And those are some videos we'll feature. I have working on the Chichen Itza video right now, and that, for me, as a history buff, was a really, really cool place to go. These are places I've seen on, National Geographic Channel as a kid, and some of the PBS shows growing up. And it's a place that I really, really would wanted to see. So we booked a cruise because we like to cruise as well, and we booked a cruise out there, and that was a lot of fun. Um, January was a little rough out in the Gulf. It can be rough out there. We had cruised last May when I was out on leave for my shoulder, and the waters in the Caribbean were calm. I could barely feel the ship moving. But this winter, this January, when we were out in the Gulf, it was a little bit rough, especially when you lay down in bed at night. I wouldn't say you were gonna roll out of bed, but it certainly you could feel the bed move a little bit while you were sleeping, and that was a lot of fun though. If you like to cruise, um, I would recommend it. Carnival is one of the I don't want to say the cheaper ones, but they're more affordable, and it's also the party ship. There's a lot of young people on the Carnivals. I think next time I want to try one of the other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, um, or one of those other type, or those other cruise lines out there. Um, if anybody's been on a cruise, let me know. Let me know what you liked and what you didn't like. That brings us up to this. We're going to do some cruise news. Let me. I'm still working on my delivery here. So yeah, we got some cruise news coming up. Um, let's see. I'll bring up some of the info I got here. So one of the things is Disney Cruise Lines. They got some big savings coming up. I've never done a Disney cruise. I don't know if anybody um, has taken a Disney cruise or not, but we don't have any little kids, so I don't know if it's more geared for little children or not. But I hear that adults enjoy it too, and they have their own island, I believe, that they one of the places they stop where you spend the day there, and they have the themed cruises with the characters and dinners and whatnot. But they got some big savings coming up right now. If you get into it, you can get some discounted fares. Um, and if you book, they call it last minute booking. which means about 21 days to 75 days prior to the departure, you can get some pretty good deals. Although you won't know what your stateroom number is until about 2 weeks prior to when the ship sets sail. But if you don't really care where you're going to be, you can take a chance and save some money and do some Disney cruising. Um, Keystone says that his brother's worried about him and his wife going on a cruise, and they're worried about the virus. That brings up a good topic. I was going to wait to bring that up, but we could certainly talk about that right now. The COVID-19 virus um, is certainly a big topic out there. That people are worried about. I know right now um, there's a cruise ship that's coming into California, and they have some folks on it. They've quarantined the ship. In fact, yesterday, I'm sorry, it was Friday. They were had a helicopter, and they dropping off test kits via the helicopter on board of the ship. And from what I read today, the ship is going to be docking either today or tomorrow into California. And what they're going to do from there, I'm not sure. They didn't even say in the news. But the coronavirus is kind of a hot topic. We were in Walmart yesterday, and if you're looking for some antiseptic wipes, the shelves were pretty much empty of that. And from what I hear, the toilet paper is at a minimum. I'm not sure. It kind of reminds me of around here in New England when the day before a snowstorm, people run out and they buy all the milk and bread out of the store. But I'm not too worried about the coronavirus. We certainly should, have a heightened sense about it, but I wouldn't worry too much. Most of the people that are getting sick from it um, are either in China, where it originated from, and it's older folks or people that have underlying health issues like COPD and emphysema. But there's some statistics I got here on the virus. So as of this, which was actually today, CBS News is updated, and in China they had over 80,000 cases of the COVID-19 virus and 3,097 deaths. That's in China. And in Italy, they have about 7,400 cases that have been reported, with 366 deaths reported. That's in Italy. South Korea, that's 7,300, just over 7,300 cases have been reported, and they've had 50 deaths there. Iran got hit hard. In fact, one of the government people that was doing a news conference and telling the people not to worry broke out in a cold sweat on TV. And from what I understand, he started showing signs of the virus as well, and he did get sick from it. They've had over 6,500 cases in Iran, and with 194 deaths being reported. Again, this is something that I got from CBS News. I don't know how accurate these numbers are, and you never know from some of these countries if the numbers that they're giving us are accurate or not. In France, they have just over 1,100 cases and 19 deaths. In Germany, they have just over 1,000 cases have been reported with 0 deaths. And in the United States, we have just over 500 cases of the COVID-19 being reported, with 21 deaths being reported. And this report was as of today. I work in the healthcare industry, and we are getting prepared for these types of things, but there's a lot of people dying from pneumonia. They die all the time, and we really don't hear about that. This is a new virus. It's a new strain. It's basically the common cold, but it's something that has kind of mutated. And like I said, people with underlying health issues, especially respiratory issues like COPD, emphysema, and whatnot, those are the people that are really getting sick by it and that have died. A lot of older people in healthcare facilities. But that doesn't mean you can't get it. But most healthy people are getting it, and they're getting better on their own, self-quarantining at home, and just treating it with some of the treatments for the common cold. But we'll see what happens with this. I'm not sure what's going to happen. but I hope that this kind of goes its course and then goes away. And I know that some of the pharmaceutical companies are working on some vaccines, and they should. One of the companies I heard this morning, they should be able to have a test for it, an actual really good test for it, um, to the general public out fairly soon, which is good. And I'm hearing reports of maybe next month they're going to start some human trials for a way to treat this and to kill this virus. So I think it's a wait and see. One of the biggest things is to wash your hands and make sure you wash them with hot soapy water, um, and wash them good. I know some of the reports I heard they're asking people to sing happy birthday to themselves while they wash, and that way you'll get your hands really good and clean. Um, the alcohol antiseptic hand gel, that works well, but you still want to wash your hands after that because it will kill the virus. But once you use the gel and you don't wash your hands, you still have those dead cells on your hand. So you remember that washing is the best thing to do. And try not to touch your face and your mouth if you can. I know it's hard. We all use our hands for everything, as well as scratching your eyes and picking your teeth and whatnot. But you need to, be diligent. Make sure you wash up and wash really well. And I'm pretty confident that, um, I'm sure we're going to see some of the cases rise. I know that in New York this morning, I heard that they had I think it was 40 healthcare workers have to be quarantined because in the hospital someone came in with it. And these are all precautionary measures, of course. It doesn't mean that the 40 of them have gotten the virus, but they just don't want to spread it. And it's important that they take those measures in order to keep things in check and keep people from getting it. So. Um, That's right, Nancy. I was just reading your comment about the older people and with the pre-existing health concerns, and that's one of the things people with the weakened immune systems and whatnot. They seem to be getting hit the hardest with it. So uh, it's just something that we really need to just stay vigilant. And I know that some of you guys out there, you work in schools, and that could be pretty bad if some of the kids come in and they're sick with this, and that could totally shut the school down, and that's not good. I think that's what people are worried about is some of the systems and services that we rely on, like the truckers who bring our supplies to the stores. If they get sick and that part of the network shuts down, we certainly could, see some things at the store where some of the supplies will be missing, our normal supplies. And I'm not, telling people to go out and start stocking up on stuff, but it may be a good idea just to get some of the essentials. You know, uh, canned goods and dry goods are always good, and that it really doesn't matter whether it's the virus or flu season. Here in the Northeast, we lose our power a lot, and it could be several days. And if you don't have a generator, it could get cold in the winter. A lot of people with electric stoves, it makes it hard for them to cook. So if you have some dry goods and canned goods or something, you may be able to use like a camp stove, or if you have a small generator and you can run a hot plate or your microwave on it at times. Those are just some things you probably should have in the closet just in case for those times of need. I like to use the Be Prepared. I was a Boy Scout as a kid, and I think being prepared is a good thing in any time of the year. We do get natural disasters. There's lots of things that can happen. So it's not just with this coronavirus, but I think people they don't need to start to panic or anything. Like I said, it's just a good time to be vigilant. So we'll try to keep everyone updated with this with the COVID-19 virus. and hopefully soon we'll see some results with a vaccine, and with some of the folks, some of the deaths starting to dwindle. We certainly don't want to see those things on the rise, of course, but hopefully we'll see some good news uh, coming up with that. So that's a little bit on the COVID, but I wanted to talk about some more places that they talk about visiting this year, which for 2020, one of the places we did go to was Mexico, and Playa del Carmen is certainly one of the places that we went to. That was one of the quick ports we stopped off and jumped on a tour bus as we went to one of the Mayan ruins. And that's a beautiful place to go. It's right there on the ocean. Like I said, it's the Yucatan Peninsula. It's beautiful there. It's a jungle. There's lots of animals and really cool fauna and flowers and plants and things. Playa del Carmen, Mexico, pretty cool place. One of the places I haven't been to is in the West Indies. It's St. Lucia. Um, I've never been there, but from what I hear, that's a fantastic place. It's almost kind of like going to the Caribbean islands, and somewhat like Polynesia as well, although it's up here in this part of the world. Um, there's a one hotel in particular called Luxe Jade Mountain Resort that they're kind of boasting about. And the rooms have three walls, and the fourth open wall faces the ocean. It's open to the air. I've seen pictures of these. It kind of looks like a cool place to hang out. I've never been in a hotel room that only had three walls in it. I can't imagine they have an issue with bugs, and I'm sure the weather doesn't get too bad either. It'd be kind of cool to sleep and listen to the open ocean like that, the waves crashing on the beach. So that's a place that they're saying is a good place in the Eastern Caribbean, in the archipelago, to take a visit for 2020. Lanai, Hawaii is another one. Hawaii it's somewhat of an expensive place to travel to, and I've never been there yet. Again, we started our travel vlog about a year ago, and we haven't done too much traveling out of the country. Um, but Hawaii is a place that I would like to go to. I hear it's beautiful. Everything I see of it is absolutely beautiful. I have some friends from high school that they took a trip there, and they ended up staying there. They never came back. Uh, but it's a place that I would really love to go. Um, so they say that some of the hotels are worth traveling, and you should take a chunk of time over your spring break to go there. Um, they're saying that some of the remote Hawaiian island of Lanai is one of the places that you should see. There's the main island of Hawaii and some of the other bigger ones, but this one's a smaller one. And the Season Hotel in Lanai, billionaire built that, and he owns it. And they're saying that's a really cool place to visit. I'm not sure how much it costs, but we certainly can find out. We'll put that down in the description a little bit later. Um, but Hawaii's a place I would like to check out, and they're talking about the Four Seasons Hotel in Lanai, which appears to be a really, really fun place for spring break. So they're also talking about Italy, but I'm sure that this was before the breakout of the coronavirus. Um, Italy's a cool place. If anybody's been there, let us know. Um, I haven't, again, I haven't really traveled too much outside of the country, but Italy is one of the places I would like to go. The Mediterranean in general is somewhere I'd like to go. Some of my family are from Greece, and certainly somewhere I would want to visit. Some of those Greek islands and around Italy and Santorini. Those are places again that I've seen on television as a kid, and I'm again a history buff, and there's a lot of ancient ruins there. It's certainly one of the bucket list destinations on my list. and hopefully it's a place that we can bring to you guys via video sometime soon. I know it won't be this year, but who knows? You never know what will happen. And like Nancy said, if we all win the lottery, we'll all be taking some really cool places. Um, yeah, Nancy, you said you lived in England, and she says the traveling's a lot cheaper over there. You haven't been to Italy yet. That's definitely a place I'd like to go. Colleen and I are talking about maybe traveling to England and going to the British Isles, like Ireland and Scotland. Um, Ireland is certainly a place that we'd like to travel to and maybe take a cruise to as well, and cruise all of the islands. It may be a place that we would like to check out. Uh, my wife Colleen is she's an Irish girl, and her family comes from there, and Ireland and Scotland both. And I like Scotch, and they make that in Scotland. So it's certainly a place I'd like to go to as well. And like I said, being a history buff, they got a lot of ancient sites over there, a lot of older sites. I'm sure, Nancy, when you lived in England, you saw some of the castle ruins and things. They got a lot of older buildings that are certainly way older than the ones we have here in the United States. Um, and I watch a show called Time Team. It's not on the air anymore, but they have it on YouTube a lot, and it's a bunch of archaeologists, and they go to some of these ancient sites in England and Scotland and Ireland, and they actually do a lot of excavation and digging up of some relics, and they try to find the history on places and things that were just stories and rumors, and they try to bring them to life. It's a pretty cool show if you like history. It's called Time Team. You can find it right here on YouTube. I'm sure I don't get any accolades or anything for hyping those guys, but it's a neat show. Like I said, I'm into that history stuff, and those European countries I certainly would like to visit. I would like to see the history, um, and it to me that would be really cool. Again, digging up some of that old history. Let's see what else we got on here. Japan is a place that they're talking about for 2020. Um, it's let's see. They're specifically talking about Ammanmu, Shimashi, Japan, and I hope I pronounced that right. Um, it's on the shores of the Argo Bay, and it's a rustic Ryokan-inspired retreat. Um, and it's a place that they're hyping up here. There's mineral-rich waters there and natural hot springs. You can partake in some ancient Japanese traditions. They have bathhouses, and there's pilgrim trails that you can go to, and some sacred forests and whatnot. Um, Again, these are destinations I'd like to go to as well, but this is some of the places. This is from Town and Country Magazine that they're hyping up for 2020, and these are some of the international places that they're kind of saying that you should maybe try to visit. One of the places is Carmel by the Sea, California. I think maybe my son was there last year. I'm not sure. Maybe if Colleen's listening in the chat, she can let me know. But I believe that Carmel by the Sea was featuring pastries and cooking demos, some wine tastings and wine dinners. Um, and there's some chateau chefs from around the world will be there, and they'll be cooking some of their fares. Um, let's see, it takes place the weekend of March 14th, and there's plenty to do. There's a 1 square mile village there, and all month long they're going to be celebrating this foodie extravaganza. They have a Carmel wine walk that you can partake in. That's apparently the highlight. Uh, you can spend the day in tasting rooms and tasting some wine. It looks like you can get a wine passport, and it's for $100, and that entitles you to a 1 ounce pour at up to 10 locations in town. Um, even if you ask nicely, they'll usually top you off should you discover a bottle you love. Um, and apparently the sunsets there are really cool. And I know that let's see, you can book a table at Clint Eastwood's Mission Ranch for dinner. He used to be the mayor, I believe, of Carmel, California. So that may be some place that you want to check out. Uh, if you want to go to the Middle East, which they're talking about, Oman is in the Middle East. It looks like it's widely known amongst American travelers and wealthy Europeans. Prince Harry used to go there, although I believe he's going to end up in Canada now, that he's not part of the royal family. Him and his wife have decided to part ways for a while from the royals and kind of do things on their own. But let's see, what's it say? It's the anti-Dubai. Rather than glitzy skyscrapers, you'll find charming 17th century villages that appear to be frozen in time in a stunning landscape comprised of deserts, mountain ranges, and beaches, all in close proximity to the capital city of Muscat. They have great hospitality there, spectacular hotels, and a rich culture unlike anything else you've seen. Oman truly lives up to its nickname as the Pearl of Arabia. I don't know how traveling in the Middle East would be as an American. I know there's some places where it's fairly safe to go. There's places you certainly should avoid. And again, with the COVID-19 out, I'm not sure if that may be somewhere you'd like to go anytime soon, but it's someplace I'd certainly like to go over to Persia and see some of the deserts and whatnot. Um, let's see, what are they saying? The best place to experience the country is through a travel company like Mountain Travel Sobec. It's recommended, again, this is from Town and Country Magazine. They recommend that. So it's the Mountain Travel Sobec is the travel company they're recommending if you want to go to Oman in the Middle East. So that also the next place is Patagonia, and that's in South America. That's in Chile. And they're saying that the first half of March is an ideal time to go there. It's the tail end of their summer. Again, if you get below the southern hemisphere or into the southern hemisphere, they're having summer down there, and they're getting into their fall season fairly soon. So the weather's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous down there, and they're saying that it's just beginning to change. Um, There's a place called Tierra Patagonia in the Torres del Paine National Park. It's architecturally stunning and remote enough to make you feel like you're on the edge of the world. And I'm looking at a picture of it here. It looks absolutely wonderful. Looks like it's up in the mountains, snow-covered peaks, and some green valleys and whatnot. That really looks really, really interesting. Chile is, like I said, in South America. And someday I'd like to go down to that way. I certainly would like to go to Peru. There are some ancient sites down there as well. The Mayan and the Inca, they have sites throughout South America. There's some safe places to go to, and certainly some places down there you may want to avoid as well. It seems like that's kind of like the world today. There's places where you can go, and some places where you may not be able to go. Right now, especially as Americans, some people are not the friendliest towards us. But I certainly say live and let live, and we should be able to share the world with everyone um, and see beautiful places. Uh, again, from Town and Country Magazine, they're talking about Delhi in India. Um, it's a big city there, and it's supposed to be a culturally rich place to vacation. A lot of ancient sites there as well. Uh, March is the very end of the dry season in India, and it also marks the start of Holi, the Hindu holiday that celebrates the beginning of spring. It's also known as the Festival of Colors, so a vibrant time to visit the cities and towns in India. Um, so if you're considering maybe a place over there or a trip over there, India may be the place to go. I've been watching some videos. There are some people that produce videos that are from India, Uh, Again, it's a lot of the stuff that I watch is on some of the ancient Indian ruins and the Hindu sites. That stuff interests me, and especially pyramids. And there are pyramids all over the world. I mean, we saw them down in Mexico in the Yucatan. They're not just in Egypt. There's many countries around the world that have pyramids, which is a topic in itself and a topic for another time. Maybe we'll talk about some of that in future episodes of Vacation Nation to come. But another place that they're talking about is Dublin, Ireland. And I don't know, Nancy, if you've been. I know you said you've been to Scotland. I don't know if you've been to Ireland or not. If you've been to Dublin, but that's Ireland's capital, and they're saying that it's the ultimate bucket list for March. Mid-March is, of course, St. Patrick's Day, and we all know what happens on St. Patrick's Day. Uh, so it looks like they have a 5-day festival that kicks off on the 14th, and then on the 17th, at Central Dublin's Temple Bar neighborhood, plays host to the annual St. Patrick's Day parade. I've seen videos of their St. Patrick's Day parade, and it's quite a rowdy, ruckus event, and there's lots of people with costumes and overflowing pints of beer, and a lot of packed pubs. Um, a lot of people there, generally anytime. A lot of tourists are there, but especially during St. Patrick's Day. Um, if you think that St. Patrick's Day here in the States is a big deal, I've seen videos of what happens over there, and they certainly know how to do it. If you're into partying, you may want to hit up the Jameson Distillery. I enjoy a good glass of whiskey myself, and Jameson's is certainly a good whiskey to try. It's a good Irish whiskey, and you can go to the distillery and you can take a tour. Also, Guinness Stout. You could take a tour of their brewery there. That's over there in Dublin as well. And that may be someplace, if you're into beer, that you definitely want to check out. Certainly talking about ancient ruins and some historical sites. I know in Edinburgh they have Edinburgh Castle, and I think that's where you could kiss. Well, that's in Scotland, but somewhere over there in Ireland, I know they have some ancient ruins and some ancient castles and things. I was confusing Scotland and Ireland, but they're right next door. I'm sure the Scots and the Irish would not appreciate me confusing the two, but uh, regardless, those are some places that you should check out. And they're saying, especially this time of year in Ireland, of course, uh, with St. Patrick's Day coming up in a week or so. I don't know if you plan on going to Ireland, but this may be a time to go if you're a partier. There's a 19th century chateau style villa just 30 minutes outside of the city that you may want to check out. Um, and again, this is according to Town and Country magazine. Another place they are talking about for 2020, especially this time of year, early spring, is Belize. Um, I haven't been to Belize yet, but the peak season in the Caribbean is right now. Many islands are almost entirely booked up, but has still remained somewhat under the radar for easy beach getaways from the U.S. I know that there's some real estate companies that if you're looking for a place to retire, they're hyping Belize. You can get some pretty good deals on land down there right now. And if that's some place that you would think about retiring to, they're catering to retirees and certainly retired couples to go down and maybe buy yourself a beach house and go down there and have a place to live. But I I don't think for me I want to maybe a place to own if I hit the lottery and a place to visit, but I don't think I'd want to live there 365 at all. Um, they have a jungle and a beach trip there. The Gaia River Lodge in the Matachica. Matachica, I hope I'm saying that right. It's a perfect mix of an adventure and flopping in the sand. So it's a trip through the jungle and a trip along the beach. So that's in Belize, And if that's something you're looking for, again, another Caribbean island, I believe it's in the Western Caribbean, that may be a place that you'd like to go to. Um, and next place they're talking about for the spring is Doha, Qatar. Again, that's in the Middle East. And like I said earlier, I don't know about traveling to the Middle East or not, but it's certainly a place that some people are going to. They say that it's a modern city, and as well as it's an eclectic city. They have high-end dining and shopping, as well as colorful and adventurous excursions. Uh, the Vice President of American Express Travel suggests checking out the Qatar International Food Festival. That takes place next week, March 15th, and it goes through March 25th. Um, and then, as well as you should check out what they call the Pearl Qatar. It's a man-made island located off the West Bay coast that often referred to as the Arabian Riviera. I've seen pictures of it. It looks beautiful. Um, that's right outside the city, and there's all kinds of. So they don't have snow over there, but they do sandboarding. So we do snowboarding. They do sandboarding. So you can book a trip out into the desert, and you can try doing some sandboarding. And they have camel rides, and there's a bunch of rock formations over there. And again, there may be some ancient sites that you'd want to check out. So that's in Doha, Qatar, over in the Middle East. And then there's some islands that are close to us. Bermuda. They're talking about Bermuda as one of the places to visit this spring. Uh, and that's close by. I know it's not too far off the East Coast. You could take some cruises right out of Boston here, which is close to us, about a 35, 40-minute ride south from here on the highway. You can jump on a cruise ship and head out to Bermuda, and I think you can be there in a day or so. Um, this is apparently the tourism heyday for Bermuda. Um, and let's see. They've opened a boutique property in Bermuda. It's first new hotel. They opened it last year. It's the first new hotel that they've opened in a decade, and several other properties. The Hamilton Princess underwent major renovations in preparation for the America's Cup, which is the sailing championships there, the sailing races. Uh, it's Right now they're saying it's not quite warm enough to swim, although I would argue that us northern people with thick skin, you may want to take a swim. But they're saying that the weather's ideal for golfers. So if you're a golfer and you want to head over to uh, Bermuda, right now is a good time to go. Um, let's see. If you're looking for the splurge, you could check out the residence at the Lauren. It's a palatial 7-bedroom villa that comes with a private pool, a private beach, a tennis court, a chef's kitchen, and a screening room. So if you got some dough and you want to splurge a little bit, you can certainly check out the residence at the Lauren. That's in Bermuda. The next place that the Town and Country magazine is boasting that you should go to is Lake Louise in Canada. Although I'm trying to get away from the snow myself. I don't know if I'd want to go to Canada this time of year, but I have been to Canada a couple times, and it is a beautiful country. It does look like home to me. I'm here in the Northeast in New Hampshire, and it's not very different, although they do speak French up there in parts of Canada, um, and not a lot of French-speaking people here in New Hampshire, although we do have some crossovers that come from Canada that have moved down, and I certainly have some friends that are bilingual and they do speak French. So I may want to consider bringing them with me if I go back. That way we can go to Quebec and Quebec City, which is really beautiful. But Town and Country, they're talking about Lake Louise. Let's see, what do they say about that? It's it's a winter wonderland, and it looks like it's part of the Rockies. The snowfall reaches its peaks in March. The best part, with an average temperature in the low 30s, you'll be able to ski without freezing your face off. So I guess that's warm for up there. 30 degree in the 30s isn't so bad. You can book a room at the Cozy Post Hotel in the heart of Banff National Park. Um, and let's see, that's a chateau property, and it's home to a fantastic spa, crackling fireplaces, and indulgent ski comfort foods like Swiss fondue, apparently. Fondue's pretty good. I like fondue. Um, if you like cheese, and although there's more than just cheese fondue, I know that. You can try that out. And that's at Lake Louise in Canada. And all these things are online. Again, like I said, that was Town and Country magazine. So these are the places that they're boasting for March and this spring to check out. One place in the United States, and a couple in North America, and some overseas. Um, and let's see. Let's see. What do we got next? Let's talk about this next. Let's talk about some Disney news. We'll do some Disney stuff. Just a little bit on Disney. We did talk quickly about the Disney cruise, and they're having some huge savings this time of year. Like I said, if you do some last minute booking, they say that's somewhere between 27 to 75 days before the sailing. You can get some decent deals on cruising with Disney. Um, and you may not know what stateroom you're going to get until about 2 weeks out before you cruise. But like I said, if you don't mind an interior room, or you want to take a gamble at what you'll get, it's certainly something to check out. I don't have any prices. They want you to call. But give Disney Cruise Lines a call if that's something you want to do. Um, but we may check out a Disney cruise someday. I know that Colleen and I, we love Disney. We got a couple videos out from, in fact, that was one of the first ones that I did a year ago when we first started the channel. Uh, it was December of 18. Actually, we went to Disney. We visited all the parks, and I had never been to Animal Kingdom at the time until that time. And that's by far my favorite of the four parks. I haven't been to Disneyland in California, but I've been to the Magic Kingdom, which is great. Um, I've been to, of course, Epcot, which is fantastic, um, and the Animal Kingdom, and we went to Hollywood Studios, Disney's Hollywood Studios, which was fun. Um, at the Magic Kingdom, we went to a couple restaurants there. Of course, it's that's geared more towards families and little kids. We did the Jungle Cruise, and you can do the Pirates of the Caribbean. There's Space Mountain, of course, and the Haunted Mansion. Um, they have their Main Street USA, which is kind of cool. That's full of shops and eateries and things. They have an old time fire station, which I kind of like being a firefighter. That was kind of neat. And upstairs, there's an apartment in the fire station, I believe, that was where Walt Disney himself used to like to stay when he was at the Magic Kingdom. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe that's his apartment there. At Epcot, they have what's called their World Showcase, and it's about 1.25 miles long. It's kind of a U-shaped road that stretches, like I said, about 1.25 miles or so, and it features countries from around the world. There's let's see, you can go to England, and they have Canada. There's France. There's Japan and China. There's the American Experience, which is there. I think they have Norway and Mexico. There may be one or two I'm missing there, but if I'm missing any, just let me know in the chat. And it's a beautiful place. If you like amusement parks, Disney World in Florida is a cool place to go to. And like I said, Epcot is cool. Even though that's geared to families. There's a little bit more partying you can do there. They do serve alcohol there. The Magic Kingdom doesn't have many places where they serve alcohol. There is a few places in Epcot. Most of the restaurants. Oh, I forgot. They have Italy there as well. We did go to a wine bar um, in Italy inside Epcot, and that was fun. We made reservations in Mexico, and we ate at the restaurant there, and that was fantastic. And we watched their fireworks spectacular that they do out over the lake that they have in the middle there, and we watched it right from our table inside the restaurant. And they piped the music in, and it was fantastic. Um, Nighttime there in Disney is my favorite time. Everything's all lit up, and it's real pretty. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, the Animal Kingdom, I had never been there until last December of 18, and that was fantastic. I really want to go back. I'm an animal lover, and I like amusement parks as well. There's uh, there's some pretty cool rides there, and there's a real animal safari that you can do where they have rhinoceros and hippopotamus and alligators. There's giraffe and there's lions and hyena and all kinds of animals that you would expect to find in Africa or out in this on the out in the safari or the areas in Africa, and that was fantastic. The elephants and whatnot. That was a fun ride. Um, we got a treat. The giraffes were pretty active when we were there, and according to our tour guide, she hadn't really seen the giraffes playing like that, like they did. They were running around, and if you look at our Animal Kingdom video, I have some of that on the video. It was a lot of fun. One place that they have there is their Pandora area, which is the Avatar movies. Um, it's featured that, and they have a ride there called Flight of Passage, and it's a full immersive ride that it's based upon one of the flying banshee in the movie, and that's what you do is you go in and you can ride on the back of a banshee, and it's kind of like a surround video, and you sit on this thing. It's like getting on the back of a motorcycle, which simulates the back of the banshee, and it's incredible. You can see things that you've never seen before, and you can smell them. There's wind, and there's water that sprays on you. It's quite incredible. I didn't know what to expect, and when Colleen and I got off the ride, I think our jaws had hit the floor because it was definitely awe-inspiring. Uh, Disney really does it right, and that ride, it did it for me. That was one of the better amusement rides I've ever been on. It's called Flight of Passage, and it's in the Pandora area. And we spent the whole day there. We got there early in the morning. Uh, we Part of the deal with us staying at a Disney hotel was we could get in an hour early before regular visitors. And even that, we had a 70-minute wait in line to get on that Pandora ride, but it was well worth it. They do these things called fast passes, so you book them ahead of time, or you take your chance and try to get into a line. And all the fast passes were booked up for that, so we took our chance. And like I said, it was a 70-minute wait, but it was a lot of fun. It was well worth the wait, um, and just incredible. And so we spent the day there. We were there right into the night. It got dark, and things changed there in the Pandora area. Um, the ground lights up with all these spectacular colors, and they I don't know how they do it, if it's recordings or what, but there's all kinds of strange animal sounds and insect sounds, and the some of the plants light up, and it's really cool. It's something to, like I said, Disney does it right. It's something really that you may want to experience if you like that sort of thing. I highly recommend that. It's a lot of fun. We had a great time there. That there's a restaurant there called, or part of a restaurant, they have a lounge there. It's called the Nomad Lounge. And there's a lot of people and a lot of kids when we were there running around, and we certainly needed a break. Colleen and I took a late lunch around, I don't know, maybe 1:30 in the afternoon. And we just stopped into the Nomad Lounge, and there wasn't anyone in there. There was us and maybe two other people at the bar. And that was incredible. It was kind of smaller portions of food than you would get in their restaurant. It was almost like a tapas kind of affair, but we pretty much had the place to ourselves, and we had a couple cocktails, and we got, like I said, got some tapas food. I forget exactly what we got. I think maybe some sort of maybe beef on a stick and some chicken. Um, we did get the gluten-free churros, which was recommended by the bartender, and those were really good. Um, I, I I like a regular churro, but the gluten-free ones were fantastic. They were a little more creamy, I think, inside than they were cakey. And those were delicious, and they came out with different sauces, like a vanilla sauce and a chocolate sauce that you could dip them in, and that was really good. So that was kind of a good respite for us at the height of the afternoon when a lot of people were in the park at that time. But like I said, we spent the whole day there, right into the night, and I think we ended up closing the place. They closed a little early, I think, at that time, maybe around 9 o'clock. Um, but they have the Tree of Life, which is the center of it. If you know Disney, they have one big thing in each park that's the center. Epcot has that big golf ball looking uh, orb there, and of course, the Magic Kingdom has Cinderella's castle. In the Animal Kingdom, they have the Tree of Life, and they do a show at the end of the night where there's all kinds of video on it and music playing, and that was really cool. So, like I said, if you get a chance, Animal Kingdom for me was probably my favorite Disney park. Which leads me to Disney's Hollywood Studios, which we had been to before when it was MGM Studios. And it seemed a little bit different from when it was MGM. We took the kids there years ago, like 20 years ago or so. We had taken our kids when they were small, and that was Disney's MGM Studios. And they had a ride there called the Great Movie Ride. And that was kind of cool. It's It's in a building that looks like the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, and uh, you would get on it, and it was kind of a ride through the history of Hollywood and the movies, and a lot of animated characters from throughout Hollywood from the 30s right up to at that time I think probably the early 90s at the time when we were there. And when we went there in December of 18, that was closed because they were getting ready for a new ride, which opened up last week called Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Uh, and I got a little bit of description here of it. Some of the YouTube channels that are my friends on here, I know Expedition Greg, he was there for opening day, and I watched his video, and it looks really cool, even though it's, Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Um, it's kind of looked like a pretty cool ride, a lot different than it was when it was the Great Movie Ride. And basically, it opened up on Wednesday, last Wednesday, and what it does is it takes the guests on a you kind of get on a train, and it takes you through like you're inside of a Mickey Mouse cartoon, and all the usual uh, um, Disney characters, the old time ones are there. Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and Donald. Um, they're all in that, and you ride a train that takes twists and turns. It goes through. Let's see, what's the railroad called? They call it the let's see, the Runamuck Railroad, and it goes through Runamuck Park, and it looks kind of neat. There's a lot of neon lights, and of course Disney, they know how to do it right with the colors and the lighting and stuff. And it looks like a cool ride. That's there. That's something I haven't done yet. Again, I've seen some of the videos, and it did just open this last Wednesday. It was pretty cool, I think, for people that had done it. So that's something new there. If you go check that out. There's a couple rides too that had opened up since we had gone, and those are the Star Wars land. Batuu, they call it, is the fictional land there, and there's a couple Star Wars rides that you can do. One is I think it's a Smuggler's Run, where you actually get captured by the uh, by the Darth Vader and Kylo Ren and the stormtroopers and the bad guys, and that looks incredible if you're a Star Wars fan. Um, I can't recommend it because I haven't done it yet, but it's something I want to do, and hopefully maybe in late spring, early summer, we're going to take a trip down there, and we'll bring you some videos of that. But from everyone I've talked to that have done it, and the videos I've seen of it, it looks really incredible. It looks like a lot of fun. So that's something I think that people should definitely check out. Of course, some of the old favorites are there, like the Hollywood Tower of Terror, which is one of my favorites there. That's kind of, it's based upon an old Hollywood hotel, uh, and you ride in an elevator, and an elevator car that actually comes out of the elevator shaft, and it goes down the hallways uh, of the hall, opens up, and you overlook the whole park, and then the wall closes up and you fall, and then you go back up at an incredible speed, and then you fall again. um, and if it's kind of a lottery on how many times you'll go up and down on it. It may go up a couple times, or you may get 3 or 4 shots at it up and down. I know there's a computer that runs it, and it's all random, and that's really fun. If you like exciting, scary rides, if you like, roller coasters and those kind of things, that's definitely one to go on. It's one of my favorites. One of the rides that I hadn't seen before, um, yeah, Smuggler's Run and Rise of the Resistance. Thanks, Keystone. Yeah, those are the two that are there, and I haven't done those yet. That's the Star Wars rides in Batuu, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I saw the movie in 1977. I think I was 11 or 12 at the time, so that had a big impact on me. And even as an older guy now, I still enjoy the Star Wars saga and the stories. But going back to one of the rides that I hadn't been on before was the Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster. I heard a lot about it, and being from New England, and Aerosmith is from New England, and especially being from New Hampshire, some of the members are from New Hampshire, and so it kind of has a nice spot in our heart for Aerosmith. Um, that roller coaster was really fun. It's fast, it's loud, um, and again, if you like roller coasters, I highly recommend it. It's an indoor one, kind of like, sort of like the, uh, uh, I just lost my train of thought, but Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom. It's an indoor roller coaster like that, but nothing like nothing like Space Mountain. This one's, like I said, it's loud and it's fast. There's a lot of music, and in my opinion, it's too short. I wish it was a little bit longer, or if the lines were a little shorter, I definitely would have get in and done it again. That was a lot of fun. Um, so that's Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster. If you haven't tried that, that's a fast one, and it's a lot of fun. So those are the 4 parks in Disney. And if you've never been to Disney World in Florida, you really should go. Outside of the park, there's an area there that they have called Disney Springs. It used to be called Downtown Disney back in the day, but now it's called Disney Springs, and that's a couple roads that are lined with shops and restaurants and different attractions and things. There's a Cirque du Soleil attraction there, and uh, there's lots of restaurants. There's an Irish pub there called Raglan Road, which is fantastic. Um, they have a lot of dancers and a lot of Irish music going on. That's just second to none. I've never seen anything like that, and the food is fantastic. There's the Irish dancers. They get right up on your table and dance on the table. And the last time when we went, Colleen and I got a table right on the right against the stage, which was fantastic. We had a front row for the entertainment, and I'll tell you, they do it right. The entertainment's second to none. Being a musician myself, I consider myself a pretty good judge of music, and those guys and gals are talented down there. They really know how to do it. And that's Raglan Road, it's called. It's an Irish pub and restaurant, which I highly recommend going there. But if you just walk along the streets, there's all kinds of bars. There's something for everybody down there. The nightlife is fantastic. There's Italian places. There's some. There was a steampunk bar that we went to that was kind of cool. There were people swinging on ropes and dancers and music playing, and was something I didn't expect. Um, so if you get a chance, it's not just the Disney parks, but they have Disney Springs there as well. And there's a lot of entertainment and things for you to see. Um, it's not just for kids. I'm an older guy, and I can't wait to go back. It's a lot of fun, and I hope to do a live stream when we do go down there and visit some of our friends that I've made here on YouTube. Especially Expedition Greg is one of the guys that I've kind of struck up a friendship with here on YouTube, and I'm hoping maybe him and I can do a collaboration um, on with a YouTube live stream. So that's uh, that's something cool that I'd like to do. And uh, so you know, that's my Disney news. So let's see. It's I've been going for about an hour and a half. I think maybe I'm going to wrap it up here now. But I really appreciate you guys coming in. And if you haven't hit the like button yet, go ahead and throw a thumbs up for me. We did start a Patreon, and if you guys want to consider donating to our Patreon, that'd be great. I don't do a monthly thing just because I don't believe in that, but every time I put a video up, you guys have a chance to donate. I think it's $5. So if that's something you want to try and help support our channel, um, that helps us. I'll use the funding for new camera equipment and some editing software, and hopefully use it for some of the traveling that we do. This summer and this spring, we're going to be bringing you a lot from New England. Of course, we live here and it's easier for us, but if you've never been to the Northeast and it's a place you'd consider visiting, you really should. There's a lot to do here. We have the ocean and we have the mountains, and Vermont and Massachusetts, Maine are just right next door. They're all within about a 35 to 45-minute ride in the car. And there's really a lot to do here. Um, so I really appreciate everybody coming in. I'm glad you guys came. Um, this is my first of many Vacation Nation video live streams that I'm going to do. And I hope that you guys come back. I hope that you tell your friends, get them to subscribe, and come back and see us again. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll see you later.